What is going on, guys? It is Dylan here. Today we'll be going over a ticker symbol analysis on the ticker symbol SoFi, SoFi Technologies. SoFi is in a spot it quite hasn't been in some time, guys. Since flagging out from this massive breakout, failing against the $17 level with this very nasty wick and big wide bar moving down. Since then, guys, we have retraced all the way back down quite some bit, around 50% before recovering. And we haven't been in such a key spot since this area over here, guys. That's why we're filming this video when we started to pick up SoFi, as we're seeing a lot of conflicting signs each ways. But we are seeing a potential huge breakout, guys. So with that being said, we will start off our analysis over on the weekly to get a very broad eye perspective. We see a massive cup and handle on the daily time frame, guys. Moving all the way back from 2022, this has started, guys. And this kind of cup and handle formation, if we do break to the upside, guys, could give us the upside. And being conservative, really, within this price target, guys, about half, 50% of the retracement from the bottom to the top, neckline to the bottom of this movement, guys, you would expect the movement to about $20, 18, somewhere within that area, at least realistically retesting these highs back at that $18.50 range. And you might say, Dylan, you're one of those guys on YouTube just, saying this and that. No, we're really working with that data, guys. Moving back all the way from 2022 is when this cup and handle started. We're effectively really in a range between these lows and these highs for about a year. SoFi stock lost these lows. They swept them before trying to regain it with this nice big green candle. You've seen the volume really step in, but ultimately we did see that wick press all the way back down. Sellers did press the stock back down before effectively we descended all the way back down to these $4 levels, being really, really rough, guys. Just, you got to wonder at this point, is this one of those stocks that'll never quite recover, being it's a small cap? But eventually over time, guys, we do see the buyers step back up, push the stock all the way back down to where we've begun, all the way back down in this region, right? Being the neckline area before going sideways, forming that handle-like formation, which is really going to depict the next arguably year of trend, guys, as this has been forming for over 3 years. So, we're in a very, very interesting spot. As when we zoom in on this handle, you clearly see it's more of a sloping handle. Sometimes we see handles, usually anyways, a little bit more, consolidation, a little bit stronger. This one is a little bit more sloping, definitely did retrace from the tops more than you usually see, all the way down here to here. But we have seen buyers step back up within this area, validating this descending support and this descending resistance. Stock price on the weekly hasn't quite been this pressed up against the handle in quite some time, making it a very, very interesting image. As in the past, when we reached this descending resistance, we held there for about 1-2 days. I believe 1 day on the daily we had for flushing all the way back down, testing it for, once again, 1 weekly candle before flushing, coming all the way back up, flushing once again, seeming we might drop down to the center point maybe of this 50% retracement within this pattern down and around here. Nope, we didn't get that, guys. Buyers stepped right back up, and we're holding stock price right under this critical area. So as far as the last weekly candles, guys, each and every single one of these candles, to break it down very, very broadly, besides this green candle here, nice buyer presence, forms indecision. As sellers have pressed the stock all the way down, but buyers did as well, right? Sellers pressed stock all the way down, but buyers did as well. And now we see a very, very thin weekly candle, which is still forming as of now, but you really got to think within the next 1 or 2 weekly candles, guys, we should see that confirmation, whether that's a nice big green bar pressing up out of the zone, or that's a nasty, inverted, bearish, engulfing, whatever it could be. It could be a various of different candle structures, but we should see some sort of buyer or seller strong presence soon to really react to this very, very key time. So that's what we're looking at as far as a weekly. It is hard to have a bias, guys, as, we want to let stock decide for us. Once these key levels are affirmed, that will be the answer for us. If we break this descending resistance after being in this huge image, guys, of not doing anything for a couple years, really just consolidating in the bottom of this floor, being the cup, right? The bottom of the cup. Now coming all the way back up, guys, it's very hard to have a weekly bias, but that's why we have the multiple different time frames, guys. So if you followed the last video, guys, we mentioned this major ascending support, right? As we were pressing right into this resistance, momentarily breaking up out of this flag before having a very picture perfect false breakout here, being, guys, forming that doji-like candle, forming indecision, followed by a wick, pressing up over that major 1450 level before being short-lived, end up being a bearish engulfing this entire body of this candle. According so, we did see a little bit of a drop back down to this ascending support, which we mentioned in the last video, right at this green candle right there, guys. And we did mention we want to see this ascending support hold. As far as the buyer's perspective, is that will definitely give us, a lot of direction over the next few days. And that was true. We did see over the next 1, 2, 3 days, a little bit of bleeding, but buyers have stepped right back up, guys. They have. So, seeing these 1, 2, 3 spots, once again, guys, conflicting information on the daily. I've been trading for a little bit over 6 years now, and this is very hard to get an image, guys, but we see a ton of data. So that's why it's a very interesting stock, right? You could argue, once again, we have a new trend line of buyers stepping up in this area, and we will mark that up, guys, as this is effectively a new trend line that has emerged from the buyers. We'll make that a very light blue support, being that it wasn't quite as strong as this other support, holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days perfectly amongst its constraints. But we clearly have seen some liquidity press back up in this area. So once again, guys, you see the last 2 daily candles getting thin, retracting back down to the weekly. It's really a calm before the storm kind of thing. So you see price getting really thin, being indecisive. And we see that on the daily, guys. A lot of hammer candles, a lot of hammer candles, a lot of hammer candles. Stock price consolidating in a spot where technically it shouldn't, being in this very key spot. It does make sense, in a way that we are consolidating within this general region, I guess. But then again, guys, you would expect this trend to either shove us down or up, considering this is a yearly long trend, right? And even if we remove all these constraints and look at the stock very fundamentally, guys, we're setting these lower lows and these lower lows and these lower highs, guys, moving down in this stair-step like fashion. Now it's reversed all of a sudden, right? We set this high over here, we pressed up over that, boom. Now we have another higher high. See, we're moving up higher, and buyers are pushing the stock price up. So we've clearly seen, buyer presence want to get this breakout, guys. But it's very interesting, guys, as we just have a ton of data points pressing down. So as of now, guys, if we do confirm over these 2 wicks on the daily time frame, we would be breaking out on the daily, but you want to see a little bit more confirmation in that, as you have seen false breakouts in the past, quite a bit of times, guys. So, being over here, a little bit over here, but we did reject against the 1715, so you do expect that retracement. But the main thing we see on the daily, guys, is that, yes, on a very simple image, we do see some nice buyer presence with these 2 thin candles. But these 2 thin candles paint a lot more of a story than just 2 indecisive candles, considering the context spot where we're at. So if we do see these lows get swept, being that 1312, guys, we should be moving back down to these lows. And if we reject these lows down here, guys, which you will mark as some short-term support, that is not good, guys, as then we're just retracting lower. As far as the buyer perspective, that's not good, of course. As then we're retracting back down from this major spot, a couple bucks and losing this support. So, as of now, we kind of are sandwiched between these 2 ranges, being this, support down around that 1275 and this upper wick at 1395. So if we do break over the tops of these wicks, being that 1350, we will be breaking out, but err with caution, guys. The SoFi is a very thin stock. We get a lot of up-down movements, up, down, a lot of just crazy erratic movements. So it wouldn't be out of the possibility that we do get over, appearing to be a breakout before rejecting maybe this 1395 and having a false breakdown. So the main level we have to watch for that breakout is effectively that 1395 spot, guys. If we do get over that, that looks very good, as we are kind of breaking out of this cup and handle, right, on the daily as well, being that neckline in this rough area, being this area over here. So a lot of different data, guys. I hope I didn't lose some of you beginner traders. Sometimes we look at stocks and they're a lot more cut, clear, dry, simple. But we're looking at a very complex image, guys. A lot of different selling pressure, spots where sellers step in. But once again, seeing the discipline in buyers grind up at this major spot. With that being said, guys, we will have a very, very slight bias to being bullish, seeing the stock price move up and breaking this massive channel, getting that huge, huge breakout. That definitely can happen. Just considering that breaking this ascending support, most times than not, this would be the data we needed, sitting we're pressed against the spot to just kind of fade off, but buyers have stepped back in. So just really seeing how disciplined buyers have been in these areas. I'm going to lean slightly bullish, just a lot of tight action, really getting ready for that next movement, but very, very close, guys. Like I said, let's let the stock decide for us. Let's not jump to conclusions. But with that being said, guys, it's a good time to go shift over to the hourly. Let's get a little bit more of a short-term analysis of what we're looking at. If you tuned into the last video, guys, we mentioned we had this descending channel moving down, and we did see the buyers confirm this to the top, right? And not really much movement since. And looking at the hourly, guys, we really don't get a whole lot from it. Some stocks like Tesla, beautiful stock to image on the hourly, mainly larger cap stocks, really. But we're not really seeing quite a lot from the hourly, guys. More or less, we could take away as a psychology. Buyers in this rough area have continued to pick up the stock. And once we collapse, guys, it really was short-lived. Sellers weren't able to take advantage of this, steep ascending support being broken and these top out areas over here being that double top, immediately curling back up. So the main thing we take away on the hourly, guys, is we don't expect stock to consolidate too much longer. I really don't think you'll see too much longer than maybe a couple days tops of consolidation. Looking at the psychology of these candle structures, you would expect a move soon, guys. Soon, soon, soon. So, we won't spend too long in the hourly as we're not really seeing a whole lot. But once again, guys, watch these major market points. We will be expecting a major move soon. And once we see, this resistance marker get confirmed to the up or the down, our bias will then be confirmed, guys. So as of now, as much as I want to come on here, seem like a genius, say, oh yeah, we're gonna break out of this resistance, and heads up, guys. It doesn't work like that, guys. We have to look at the data, and the data as of now is very, very indecisive. But one thing we can say, guys, is that energy is moving and building for the next move, whether that be up or down. Expect some violent price action to come soon. We will be covering SoFi a couple times a week. It depends how many times you guys want to see these videos. With that being said, guys, if you found any value in the video, like, subscribe, all that. Like I said, we'll be covering SoFi a couple times a week. Take care, guys. Stay safe trading. Keep an eye on these marker points. And peace.